Help me to reach 2,000 subscribers. The sound of the ultrasound machine filled the quiet room with its soft, rhythmic hum. I clutched Amir's hand tightly as the doctor's voice wove through my heartbeat. "Congratulations," she said with a smile. "Everything looks perfect. You're about 12 weeks along." Amir grinned, pressing a kiss to my forehead. "That's our miracle," he whispered. "For 20 years, that man had been my anchor. Steady, composed, and endlessly patient. We'd built a life brick by brick, through miscarriages, long nights, and the quiet, persistent ache of time. I thought I knew every shadow of him, every heartbeat, every silence. But as the doctor printed the sonogram image, she said something that made the air in my chest collapse. "Would you like me to mark the father's name for the hospital record?" she asked gently. "You wrote Zishan Khan here earlier. Should I change it to Amir?" I froze. The world blurred. My heart thudded once, then nothing. Zishan, my husband's younger brother. I didn't answer. Amir's hand was still warm in mine, unaware, steady. The doctor's words replayed like static in my ears, tangled in disbelief. I managed a weak smile and mumbled something about confusion, about forms, about mistakes. But inside me, the earth had opened. When we left the clinic, Amir's phone buzzed, and I saw the name Zishan light up the screen. My chest tightened. Amir didn't notice. He just tucked the phone away and asked if I wanted ice cream. I said no. That night, as he slept beside me, his breath even and familiar, I stared at the ceiling, my hands on my stomach. I couldn't breathe under the weight of the thought that maybe, just maybe, this child wasn't his. It began 6 months earlier. Zishan had come to stay with us after his divorce. He was everything Amir wasn't. Spontaneous, charming, reckless. He made me laugh when my days felt heavy. He helped around the house, brought flowers for no reason, cooked dinner when Amir stayed late at work. It started with small things. His hand brushing mine while passing dishes. His gaze lingering longer than it should. The way he'd sit too close on the couch, his voice dipping low when he spoke. I told myself I was imagining it, until the night Amir had gone on a business trip. The rain was relentless, hammering against the windows. The power flickered out. I was lighting candles when Zishan came in, soaked to the bone, shirt clinging to him. I remember the smell of rain, the sound of thunder, the flicker of candlelight dancing across his face. "I'll make you some tea," I'd said, trying to ignore how my pulse quickened. But when he touched my hand, light, trembling, apologetic, it felt like a door had opened that I didn't know existed. "I shouldn't," I whispered. "I know," he said. "But you're not happy, are you?" And for one reckless, unforgivable night, I wasn't a wife. I wasn't faithful. I was just a woman who wanted to feel alive again. Afterward, I told myself it was a mistake, that it could never happen again. And it didn't. He moved out a week later, and I buried the memory deep inside me like a dead thing. Until now. The next morning, I called the clinic, pretending to confirm an appointment. My voice was calm, but my hands were shaking. "Could you please check something?" I asked. The name written on the father's section, was it filled in before or after the test? The nurse hesitated. "Before," she said. "You wrote it on the form when you arrived." I hung up. My knees nearly gave out. I had written it. Zishan's name, not Amir's. I didn't even remember doing it, but my subconscious had betrayed me. My hand, my mind, something inside me that must have known the truth before I dared to admit it. I booked a private paternity test that same afternoon. When Amir came home that night, he brought a tiny silver locket for the baby, engraved with our initials. "For when she's born," he said softly. "You and me and our miracle." I smiled, tears pricking my eyes. My guilt was acid. He wrapped his arms around me, and I could barely stand it. The warmth of his love, the certainty of his devotion. The results came 3 days later. I opened the envelope in the kitchen, the morning sun filtering through the blinds in narrow slits of light. The air was thick with silence. My fingers trembled as I unfolded the paper. The first line blurred. My pulse roared in my ears. I blinked once, twice, trying to steady my vision. Probability of paternity, Amir Khan 0%. Probability of paternity, Zishan Khan 99.97%. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stood there, frozen, the paper fluttering in my hands like a dying bird. The sound of Amir's voice calling my name from upstairs shattered the moment. I shoved the paper into the drawer, heart hammering. He came down smiling, talking about breakfast, about work, about baby names. Couldn't breathe. Every word he said pierced me with unbearable tenderness. How could I destroy him with the truth? That night, I found Zishan's number on my phone. My thumb hovered over the call button. When he answered, his voice was soft, wary. "I know," I said before he could speak. "It's yours." Silence. Then a low exhale. "I was afraid of that." "You knew." "I suspected," he said. You looked different when I saw you last. I didn't want to hope." "Hope?" I choked. "You think this is something to hope for?" He sighed. "I love you, Aisha. I always have. I didn't mean for it to happen, but maybe this is fate." "Don't," I snapped, my voice breaking. "Don't you dare romanticize what we did. You ruined everything." He went quiet. "Then what will you do?" "I don't know," I whispered. Days passed in a haze of pretense. Amir was radiant, preparing for fatherhood with boyish excitement. He painted the nursery yellow, assembled the crib, hummed to my belly at night. Each gesture stabbed at me until I thought I'd bleed from the inside. I couldn't bear it anymore. One evening, as we sat together, I told him everything. Every detail. Every sin. He didn't speak for a long time. Just stared at me, eyes empty, hands clenched. When he finally stood, his voice was hollow. "My brother," he said. "Of all people." "I'm sorry," I whispered. "I swear I never meant for this to happen." He nodded slowly, tears sliding down his face. "You killed something in me, Aisha, and I don't think it can ever come back." Then he walked out. A week later, I saw Zishan at my door. He looked wrecked, eyes red, hands trembling. "I came to see you," he said softly. "To see her." "She's not yours," I said coldly. "She's mine." He nodded, understanding the weight behind my words. "And Amir, he's gone." The silence stretched, heavy and endless. I closed the door before he could speak again, pressing my back against it as tears spilled down my face. In the quiet that followed, I placed my hand over my belly and whispered to the life inside me. "You will never know this story. You will never know the faces that broke your world before you even entered it." Outside, the rain began again. Soft, relentless, cleansing nothing.